You're back with Third Degree and our focus on the Western Cape's wine farms. How is it possible that workers are living in such appalling conditions 18 years into our democracy? We put this question to the owner of the farm, Don Joubert.
Simonsvlei is located in the beautiful Groot, Drakensberg and Paarl Valley, with the majestic Simonsberg and Paarl Mountain its backdrop. Some 8 months after our first visit, we returned to the rundown shed hidden in the orchards, some distance from the rest of the farm buildings. It's still there, little has changed. We soon tracked down the owner, Don Joubert. The Jouberts have lived here for 3 generations. They consider the farm workers, many who've lived and worked on the farm for generations too, as part of the family.
I consider myself the father of all these people, and if the responsibility is mine to see that all of them got, if it not a big salary, but they've got something in their hand on a Friday. Sometimes I'm doing it at a loss, but it's my responsibility.
He was clearly unhappy when we told him we'd filmed the deteriorating living quarters some months before. He was at pains to tell us all the good things he does on his farm. He took us on a tour of the creche. Workers pay around 10 or 15 rand a week for each child. The kids receive meals there. And they certainly enjoyed what seemed to be a warm and loving environment. The older kids, he told us, attended the local school in nearby Klapmuts. He set up this classroom next door to the creche for their aftercare needs. And Joubert employs a teacher to help the school pupils with homework in the afternoons until their moms finish work. But not all his workers are permanent. Farming is seasonal in nature.
Well, it's hard. But I can tell you there isn't enough money in farming to keep people that you can't use. If they're not productive, then unfortunately, I would love to keep them busy, but you have to be productive. Otherwise, there won't even be work for the permanent workers.
His 50-odd full-time staff do seem to be better off. They stay here on his farm rent-free.
They live in quite nice houses. Most of them have got hot water, all of them have got electricity and toilets. And
Flushing toilets?
Flushing toilets, yes. And we try to improve the housing every year. 2 years ago we've installed the hot water solar power geysers. Last year we spent a lot of money to upgrade some of the older houses which had pit toilets to flush toilets, and our next project is for the temporary workers which are living in a shed.
So the dilapidated shed we'd seen was for his casual workers. And what about the equally rundown 2-story building across the way?
There's also temporary people living there, and that's also part of this year's project of improvement. My son got quotes last week for new windows, and there's a few leaks on the roof, so we're going to replace the roof as well.
So I was here before winter, and there was leaks, and the one woman said to me that the rain was coming in on the top level there onto the bed, and electricity wires were very sort of weirdly connected. So through winter there was obviously a lot of rain. Wasn't it fixed then? What happened during winter? Because that's been about 6 months.
There wasn't complaints.
They said that they did ask you at that stage, and you kind of came to look and nothing was done.
No, there was one of the plata that was loose, and I sent somebody up to fix that. But the whole roof needs to be replaced, and that's going to be done. We already had a plumber, not a plumber, a carpenter that's going to do it, and he was there yesterday.
But for this past year, it has been in disrepair.
I wouldn't say that. The wood, what do you call that? Beams that aren't that good anymore. So occasionally, if there was a strong wind, there might have been a loose something. But
from what we'd seen, it seemed a lot more serious than that. And strange that it's only being fixed now, as the media spotlight turns on the farming sector.
It's not ideal, and I've told you, it's on the cards to be uplifted. But what can I do?
You look stressed.
I am.
Casual workers are extremely vulnerable. They have little choice and take what they can get. And while farmers have no obligation to provide accommodation, when they do, it needs to meet a certain standard. So exactly when will these buildings be fit to live in?
If we came back here in, well, if you give me a time frame, would we see that fixed up?
Yes, I can give you a time frame.
Okay.
It won't be tomorrow, but it will be as soon as possible. And we're running into harvest time now, but if we can go through the harvest without labour problems, then I'm sure there'll be money to fix it.
What, early next year?
Early next year.
We come back in March.
Let's call it April. March we're still busy harvesting.
Okay.
And what of the controversial issue of wages? Jabir insists the minimum wage on his farm is 80 Rand a day, 10 Rand above the national minimum. But he says many of his workers earn a lot more. And like so many other farmers, he thinks the call for 150 Rand a day minimum wage is unrealistic.
If you pay 150 Rands a day, and then your labour cost will almost be double, and then there'll be nothing left. So you can't take all this risk and earn less than your input. So then you can pack up and go.
Do his workers belong to a union?
They're free to belong to the union, and there is about, I would say, 10% that's belonging to the union.
10% is above the dismal national average. Low levels of worker organisation on farms could be the root of the problem.
Still to come, we talk to the Labour Department about a way forward.